Welcome to our 13th episode of Black Dance Stories. Here's a note about why we are here. Our dance world was pummeled by COVID 19, and Black dance artists are finding ways to talk about life during this time. Our world was further turned upside down after horrible events ensued nationally and globally, bringing attention yet again to the need for the Black Lives Matter movement. Black dance artists have not been quiet since. Black dance artists have been doing the work. Black dance artists continue to make work. To stay involved, we hold these weekly impromptu discussions and tell stories. Black dance stories. This, we promise, is one action, and we will stay involved. We are a community working together to support, uphold, highlight, and celebrate Black creatives. Tonight is our 13th episode of what we hope will be many stories told in the artist's own voices. Big welcome to our new BDS Thursday night friends and to the regulars. We thank you so much for witnessing. Please share the love with those in your community as well as those outside of your community. Tonight, it's Kayla Hamilton and Germaul Barnes's turn. Yay! Please meet part of our BDS team. I'll go first. I am Charmaine Warren. I am a Jamaican. I am the granddaughter of Ida Boyd, I am the great granddaughter of Ida Boyd, granddaughter of Solomon Goldson and Ruby Chapman, and daughter of Theophilus Warren and my 94-year-old mother, Pearline Warren, who lives in Jamaica. I am a non-disabled Black woman. With the utmost respect to the Native people, I acknowledge that I live on the stolen land of the indigenous Lenape, now known as Montclair, New Jersey, with my husband, photographer, and graphic artist, Tony Turner. Our daughter, Ashe Turner, a Black ballerina with locks, is going into her junior year, has begun her junior year at Boston Conservatory. I have locks that fall to my shoulders. I'm wearing a turquoise blouse and white droplet earrings. Behind me are photos of our family, a large plant, a lamp, and African masks. Dance is my happy place. And each week I am so honored to share this special place with you, and equally so with members of our dance community who find solace here. I turn it over to Kimani now.
Thank you, Charmaine. And I'm so, again, happy to be with you. This is our happy place in this time. The importance of acknowledging our familial and dance legacies is an essential tradition. With deep respect and honor, I want to acknowledge the Lenape people whose stolen land I am zooming from, currently known as the Village of Harlem. I am a Black non disabled woman and I live with my 9-year-old son. I am sitting in my dining room. I have a golden low cut haircut and I'm wearing a black long sleeve shirt. I am the granddaughter of Lucille Madison. I teach because of her. I am daughter of Ronald Augustus Fowlin, Jamaican warrior, and Anne Fowlin, Renaissance woman. I dance because of them. My son Tamayo keeps me present with the fascination of a blossoming young visual artist. And with that, I turn it over to Nick.
Thank you, Kimani. Hi, everyone. I'm Nick Hall. I'm Haitian American, and I'm a Black non disabled man. I was born in Brooklyn to Sheila and Curtis Hall. My family, including my sisters Isabella and Victoria, now live in Montclair, which is on stolen Lenape land. I'm also a recent graduate of the Fordham ALU BFA program. And with that, I'm going to pass things back to Kimani.
So, everyone, some things I just want you all to realize that we have 39 days left to vote Please, please, if there's one thing that we can do to make change is to vote. And please, if you haven't done it already, time is cutting down on that as well. The census, fill it out. We need to be counted, please. There is a village here. This BDS village is growing. And I just want to tell you, it takes the village, and our village exists in front of and behind the camera.
Yeah.
We have Cynthia Tate, our publicist, Gabe Decolalenu, our web designer, Caitlin Chandler, video tech expert, Tony Turner, graphic designer, and our ASL interpreter, Sharuk in Kenya, and Antonio in the back. So thank you so much. Please know there are donations that to keep us going and going far into the future. Donations are crucial, especially now where things are not as they were. We are looking for your generosity. And please, for Kayla and for Germaul as well. And with that, I will turn it back to Nick.
Thank you. Just a few things. We want to see who's with us tonight, so please drop your name in the chat, say hi to your neighbor. A big part of Black Dance Stories is the community that we create, so we want to see who's with us tonight.
Yay.
Also, while you're doing that, please like our like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Instagram page, follow our Twitter, which is at BLK Dance Stories, and like us on Facebook. And with that, grab a glass of wine, grab a cocktail, a glass of water if you'd like, but let's cheers to Black Dance Stories.
Cheers.
And taking a moment, serious moment, I just want to say, yesterday is proof that our BDS team will continue to stand in solidarity with all those who want an immediate end to systemic racism. We remind you of the political and geographic wrongs happening now. And with that, I will turn it over to Charmaine for this evening's beautiful conversation.
Thanks, Kimani. Thanks, Nick. And BDS is strong, you all. We know what's going on, and we hope you stay with us and make noise all the way. All right, Kimani and Nick are going to leave for just a bit. See you in a bit. And we're going to bring, oh my gosh, Kayla Hamilton in. Kayla Hamilton. Come on in, my friend.
Hey.
Hi, Kayla. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's so good to see you.
Thanks, Mama Charmaine.
So good. All right. So introduce yourself and then take it away. And you know I'm here.
All right, y'all. I'm a bit nervous, so I'm gonna talk slowly until my heart gets settled. All right. And I wrote it down so I didn't forget anything. All right. My name is Kayla Hamilton. To my family, I am Kayla Mo or Kayla Monique. To my students who I teach in the South Bronx, I am Miss Hamilton, Miss Ham, Miss H, Miss Hammy, or Miss Ham and Cheese. I was born and raised in Texarkana, Texas. If you don't know where that is, it's on the border of Texas and Arkansas. It's a twin city. I'm the great-granddaughter of Mary Russell, the granddaughter of Louise and Curtis Cooper, the daughter of Jean and Deborah Hamilton, the sister of Kobe Hamilton, the aunt of Riley Carter Hamilton. I am a fat, Black, and disabled female identifying person that prefers she and her pronouns. I'm wearing wide frame glasses. I have a small Black curly afro. I'm wearing a tan shirt, multicolored hoop earrings. I am sharing with you all from the land of the Lenape people, also known as the Bronx. I'm in my living room, and behind me is a white curtain. Yeah, that is me. I guess I want to start with, like when you do these things, it's like you play in your head, like, what are you going to say? Like, don't say that, say this, don't say that, say this. But I think I want to start with, what is my first memory of arriving here, and then where I am now, where I'm journeying to now. So I was born with myopia, which is sight. I did not have sight in my left eye. Woo. And I really wanted to play soccer as a kid. I wanted to play soccer so bad, but my parents were always afraid that the ball was going to hit me in my eyes. So fast forward, I'm still begging, and I have a late uncle, Lawrence Hamilton, who was a tap dancer and Broadway performer. And I saw him perform. I think I was around 8, 9, 10. And after I watched him, I was like, Mom, that right there, right there, right there, Mommy, that's it, that's it. No more soccer, no more soccer. Put me in that. So I went to the Dolly Dinkle school in my little southern small Texas town. I will remember I was at the ballet bar, and I think we were doing rendezvous. And my dance teacher, she says, Kayla, she whispered, let me talk to you for a second. And I'm like, oh, that's weird, strange. All right. So I go when she takes me into the dressing room, and she says, Kayla, you're a really beautiful dancer, but you'll be even better if you just lost a little weight. And I remember from that moment, I was hurt um, in that moment because I was like, well, if she feels like, I'm progressing, what was the issue? Uh, but I feel like that was like the fire, and it stayed with me because I remember writing in my journal, like as I was growing up, like I don't care when I get older, I'm moving to New York and I'm gonna dance, and they're gonna see my fat body, they're gonna see me, okay? And my body does everything that everybody else. I just remember being sassy and just writing in my journal, and my mom was like, "Baby, just calm down, just one thing at a time, one thing at a time." So I will say, like, that is the story that resonates, like when I feel like I can't anymore. That is the thing that keeps me going. That um, I made it. Yes, I obviously love to dance and move, but I also wanted to prove that my body was able and capable of doing things that other bodies could as well. Uh, so that was, I believe, the beginning of, yeah. Fast forward about, I want to say 3, 4 years ago, I met Alice Shepard. But it was when I met Alice um, that I began to acknowledge and identify with an aspect of who I was that ableism uh, uh, encouraged me to ignore. Growing up in the South, respectability politics were really real, right? The displayment of anything outside of contentment and joy uh, was frowned upon, and from my experience. Um, where am I going? Circling back. So yeah, so seeing Alice, another Black disabled woman, share her story, and my understanding of what disability is made me realize that that was a part that I was ignoring, right? So then, so not then, yes, then I began to ask myself questions, uh, uh, and to start to like interrogate what it means for my artistic practice, and how can I use uh, my disability as a way to inform what it is that I'm doing or what it is that I'm trying to say. Um, I think a lot about, I'm visually impaired, eyesight impaired. So I think a lot about how can uh, how can we take sight as dance's prominent source of consumption, and challenge and push the notion of what dance is if we are unable to see with our eyes. Um, yeah. hmm Yeah, I think a lot about that, and I play a lot with that. And what is the various ways, like what is vision, what is sight, what does it mean to see, what are we choosing to see with our eyes, etc. So I'll fast forward to now. During this time of COVID, I've been thinking about expanding, my net of other disabled Black artists, and trying to connect with them. hmm Yep. And I know that being in this digital landscape can really support with that, right? Because we know that uh, disabled folks have been in shelter in place uh, for an extended period of time, right? This is like not new. So this is an opportunity for me to connect and build relationships, and uh, find my people, uh, more of my people, if you will. So I will say, as an artist, the experience of being in concert dance, uh, and a larger body human, and a disabled person, uh, uh, impact, all of me, right? My teaching, my dancing, the way I connect, the way I relate. Um, yeah, I'm gonna pause, drink some water. I mean, vodka. uh, I think I need help, Mama Charmaine.
You know I'm
Help!
here. You know I'm here. And I was thinking when you said, find my people, do you
Yeah,
think we should name your people that you found? Because you dropped Alice Shepherd. You dropped
uh,
that name.
sure. I would offer Jerron Herman
Oh,
as a name, Kiki Brown
hmm.
as a name. And to be honest, I hope to learn more. I will say though, I am really uplifted by the Black women that I have been blessed to work with: Giselle Mason, Sydney O. Mosley, Maria Bauman Morales, Sylvia Suma in DC, a traditional West African dance company. Yeah, I think traditional West African dance is like the center of my practice, because I realize it's a movement form where you feel, um, and it's not necessarily about like making something into a shape. It's the energy of it, so that no matter if I even if I can't see the teacher, I can feel the teacher and the people around me, and it would, even if I'm doing a cuckoo step to a laban rhythm, folks are still going to celebrate, right? They're going to be in it. So so yeah, I don't know why I said that, but to say that, yes, traditional West African dance, and the teachers look like me, right? It was like a
Mm.
place where my hips, my thighs, my extra was a value add, and not necessarily seen as something like, oh, I can't see your line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know why you said that. Because we're talking about feeling. And because you're a disabled Black woman, all of those other things just spark, right?
Yeah.
The other senses.
And mm-hmm, and I think it's not necessarily sight, but awareness, right?
Hmm.
Like, mm, being aware of what it is, of your senses, and how you're using them, and when you're using them, and why you're choosing to use them in that moment. Um, yeah, it's the awareness of the senses, where I feel like, my personal disability has allowed me to tap into um, intensely with a little bit more urgency.
Mhm.
Um,
And how do you share that with people like skeleton architecture, for example, when Ava brought 21 of us together?
through this sounds anyway, I don't care what it sounds like, it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's through relationship, right? I
Mhm.
feel like we owe each other that, right? The relationship. And when you uh, care for someone and love for someone, you are I am more willing to give them what they need, right, and
Yeah.
what they want.
Yeah.
um and it was a moment for me, like, yeah, um I belong here.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, 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 yeah. We belong here. Uh,
We meaning,
we meaning fat, disabled artists, right? Yes, yes, blackness, but even the wide ways in which we exist. There's space for all of that.
yeah.
Uh,
And you make work.
I, yes, I make work. Um, what should I say about my work? You know what? This is gonna like force me to like get the ball rolling. The project is ready to like press send, but you know when you're holding on to something, you just holding on to it. You're just like waiting. You don't know what you're waiting for. This is the project. In the spirit of trying to connect, not trying to, in the spirit of connecting with other Black and Black disabled artists, I'm launching uh, a network, if you will, called D BIPOC Unfragmented. So I use descriptions as a way to generate movement and a way of making my art accessible for low vision and blind individuals. So it looks like if my hand is moving this way, I may describe my hand moving across from right to left in a wave, or I may describe it as, my uh, three center fingers lead me as I drop down toward the ground and blah, etc. Uh, so I use description to create the movement. So I'm taking movement descriptions, the same movement description, sending it to uh, Black disabled artists that I know, having them interpret what it is of the movement description, right, of my original score, them sending it back to me, offering up 2 to 3 other Black disabled artists that they know, and then I'm going to send the invitation to them. So it's like a digital game of telephone with descriptions and various interpretations. And whenever there is an end, I will be collecting and compiling all the videos and making a website with that can hold us all disabled and BIPOC folks, so we can find each other and the world can find us. So DBIPOC Unfragmented. It's ready to press send. I just haven't pressed send. Alice Shepard and Jerron Herman will be my first 2 artists. Uh, Whenever I press send,
I was about to ask if you could say names, but you did.
I did. Yeah, they would be my first 2, and then whoever they share with me, I will
Mhm.
then send the invitation to the next group.
We shouldn't assume that everybody knows Alice and Jerron. So, do you want to say a little bit about them?
Sure.
You
Oh,
mentioned what Alice brought to you. So maybe Jerron, because these special people.
yeah. Jerron, you see people around and you say hello, but you don't really like go into deep conversation. And then, yeah, I believe it was a Dance NYC event. I connected with Jerron. Jerron is another disabled artist who danced with Heidi Latsky. And he's now an independent artist working with Alice Shepard and Kinetic Light. Um, yeah, disability advocate, um, just a phenomenal human being, and someone who really is committed to the disability arts community, and pushing disability arts forward. Um,
Do
yeah.
you, mm, when you're with abled bodies, able bodies choreographer, most
Mhm.
especially in a festival situation, because that's where you've been presenting your work, right?
Mhm.
Not by yourself.
Right.
What goes through your mind?
When I'm presenting in those spaces,
Yeah.
um, well, um,
Vodka.
vodka. Yeah, vodka. What goes through my mind? What goes through my mind is how, as an individual uh, artist, going to encourage or uh, poke that the organization institution uh, has accessible practices for the entire show. Uh, yep, I think to myself, who, I'm always, because I consider who's in the house when I'm creating the work. So I'm curious if there's going to be disabled audiences in the house, in the space, and if not, what is the festival organization institution doing to bring those folks into the space, knowing that they have disabled folks presenting. I think about actually I don't. I think about it and then I go back and forth with whether I care or not. If people like get disability artistry, like what it is that I'm trying to do, but it don't matter. But that is a thought. I'll be lying if I said that wasn't a thought. Um, yeah, I think my biggest takeaways are like, are there going to be disabled folks in the house? And if not, what are you doing about it? And are you going? Is the entire show going to be accessible? Because if not, then maybe I really should be considering if I want to be in those spaces or not. Um, yes, yeah,
Lots of experience with this,
just just a little, just a little, just a little.
but change.
Yes, I feel the more comfortable I am with, for a minute, it took me a while to claim disability, right? It was a process, right? Because I still was like, oh, then I had the ableist thinking, oh, you're weak, oh, then, people are going to start treating you differently. People are going to X, Y, and Z. You need to start asking for what you need, right? So it's taken me a minute to fully accept and step into the power and the glory and the beauty of being a disabled person. So now as I step into that, I am more able, right? The throat chakra is clearing up to be direct and say what it is and what it is that I need, right? Not just for me, but for the people who are going to be witness participants to the entire show, not just my work, right? Like dance, when we say dance is for everybody, but people be lying. They're not, it's not dance for everybody. So if dance is for everybody, let's make sure dance is for everybody.
And champion that cause.
Exactly. Like, don't say it. Let's do it. We owe each other that, right? Like, we can't. Mm-hmm. Yep. 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 And mm, you know, again, I have to be honest. That there's sometimes, like I can make work for what I know for low vision and blind folks, but there, in some regards, I missed the mark on others, right? So where I have to ask myself, is the the working towards making art accessible for everyone, is that enough? Or like I'm just gonna keep going, just whew, I'm swimming, I'm swimming, I'm swimming, I'm swimming, I'm swimming. Uh, yeah, just, and I don't know. Yeah, I want more non-disabled artists to consider disabled folks in the creation process, and that it's not an afterthought, right? Because it takes away from the artistry when you put audio description on top of it, right? Because we don't get the juiciness, right, of what it is that you are trying to convey, right? If you know, if the ASL interpreter, for me, this is me, this is personal, right? Everybody has their own situation, but if the ASL interpreter is off to the side and they're not involved, I don't know. I just, I don't want anyone to be an afterthought uh, as we are in the making process, right? To consider as much as we can, right? I mean, again, I don't know if like you're gonna hit everyone. Hopefully we do, right? But to consider and be thoughtful, um, because it's the art. It's beyond us, right? It's not. Yeah.
And so your body making dances. When you go
Yeah.
into the studio, tell us about that.
When I go into the studio, to be honest, listen, for a long time, I just lay there and I cry, and I sit in the corner and I'm in an X, and I roll around, and then I'll get up and I'll dance, I'll improvise a little bit, and I lay down again, and I cry, and then I write, and then I pray, and I walk around, and I start looking at stuff, and then eventually, after many dreams and uh, conversations with students, like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this, uh, and it's really been, uh, I feel like the vision is there before I actually craft it, and then I put pieces together, and then I pray that it works. I put it together in some kind of whatever I feel like, mm, the making process is a spirit practice. I'm trying to not get myself into like good and bad. It's like, what is it that I'm trying to, what is it I'm trying to say? What is it I'm trying to do? I think I'm more into experiences and not dances. Like, what are you thinking about, feeling after the fact? Uh, but that's not what you asked me. You asked, so yeah, what do I do? I cry, I laugh, I walk around, I write, I yeah, I do a whole bunch. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, you wasting this studio space right here. Why you wasting? Somebody could be in here sweating it up, and you are no, but it's not. It's a part of the process. It is a part. I truly believe it's a part of my process, and it just takes me a minute, but it comes. It comes through writing, through reading, through talking to friends. I think a lot of my dances are made not in the studio. I think I put them together in the studio, but I don't think I make them in the studio. If that makes any, it don't matter if it makes sense. I keep asking that. It don't matter. Uh, yeah, a lot of descriptions. I work with Nicole McClam, who is a certified movement analysis, uh, who works with me a lot on the various ways to describe. I'm also interested in, this Laban and this like notion that it can capture movement, but not all movement, but you claiming that it. I'm just interested in like deconstructing this Laban thing but I, I feel like you got to know it really well in order to deconstruct it. So I'm really trying to like understand it more so I can break it down and
And
uh-huh. Uh, Playwrights, like anyone who's interested in like imagery or vision or making, yeah, what I'm trying to say is I enjoy working with folks and who have other practices outside of dance, theater artists, yeah, playwrights, um, yeah, uh, circus performers, right? I
come
feel
on.
like Yeah, I am. Yes, because I feel like when it terms like descriptions and what our people are seeing or not seeing, I feel like dancers were trained to some degree see stuff in a certain way, and I'm interested in what other folks. I always bring in Krishna Washburn, like other blind and low vision artists, into my practice,
Mhm.
to help me shape and ask me questions and to um, ensure that I'm kind of moving in the right direction. Like I involve my community, toward the end of the process.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Let's
yeah.
involve somebody else in this process.
Ow, let's get.
Now, Germaul Barnes, maybe?
Hmm.
Germaul.
Hold on. Let me.
Let's see. Maybe Germaul Barnes will come in and join us. Take a drink of your vodka. Hey,
Okay.
Germaul
Greetings,
Barnes.
everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Cheers.
the I love to come in on the cocktail hour.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to do some quick shout outs. Y'all got lots of folks here with y'all. And then I'm going to leave you. Ava Ya is here. Laura Colby's here. Elizabeth Zimmer, Renee Redding
Yeah,
Jones,
yeah,
Daniel
yeah.
Burkholder. Yogi Dada says he's here for Bro
Uh,
Jump Jamal.
Yogi,
Pollard, Barbara Demers
Trey.
Woodford, Yatande, Kyle Marshall, Jay Bowie, Maxine Monteles, Laura Marchese, hey Laura, Stacy Dinner, and Davidson, David Lloyd
Ava.
and Cynthia Oliver is here. I think Cynthia said,
Yeah.
or was it Kyle that said spirit practice or somebody? Anyway, I'm gonna leave y'all. Have a little fun, but cheers.
Yeah.
I'll be
Cheers.
back in a minute.
Greetings, greetings. So,
Jamal.
yes. Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Another cheers into the ancestors too.
Mhm.
We pour one for the ancestors.
Absolutely.
Mm. Wow, thank you. So, as you were speaking, I was just sitting here with my eyes closed, and I
Mm,
was like, the the generosity that you just give off is so amazing.
mm. Thank
That's so
you.
amazing. And you said something about awareness.
Yeah.
Awareness. Let's talk about awareness. What's that mean?
Uh, for me, awareness is noticing and paying attention to consciously, right? Like you are putting thought uh, into a certain place,
Hmm.
right? Like you're not
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
aimlessly,
Just
like
exactly.
which is fine, right? But
Hmm.
awareness is like, huh, and then maybe that sound. Oh,
Yes.
where's that sound coming from? It could be this, it could be that, it could be this. Is it coming from this way? That way? Okay. Instead of being like, oh yeah, that's a car horn, we're gonna keep it moving, right? But
Hmm.
what else could that sound be, right? Other than,
Yes.
does that make
Yes.
sense? Yeah.
Oh,
What
most
else could it
definitely.
be?
Most definitely. I
I'm just
totally
asking if it
agree.
makes sense. Anyway.
I totally agree. And that's what we, as dance practitioners or movement practitioners, hope to develop. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Using your senses. I mean, we talk about, those languages like, be aware and look out for that. But we don't actually really get to the essence
Yeah.
of what awareness is,
Yeah.
And, when you spoke about you don't make your dances in the studio, you make it outside. So that's a sense of awareness. So
Mm.
you're aware of things that's outside
Right.
that's feeding you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often feel like my dance practice helps make me be better, right? Like, yes, I dance the dance, but I'm dancing, yeah, to be aware of myself, of you, of the world, right? Of my community, of the world. It's like not Yeah, dance is a vehicle to the next situation, and I just
Hmm.
keep doing it over and over again.
Yes.
Why
Yes.
I'm clapping.
Clap,
Hey,
clap,
yeah,
clap, clap. Make it clap. Make it clap. And swimming, you know what I mean? And so there's a lot of analogies. I was sitting here thinking, and you said, "Oh, I'm swimming." I'm like, "Swim, sister.
yeah.
Swim, sister." Yes, yes.
I'm gonna
So it's
find it. I'm gonna find
yeah.
it.
But I have something in common. We're both from the Southwest.
Stop. Where you from?
I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Born and raised in Phoenix,
Born and
Arizona. But I'll get that in my
right. Okay,
introduction.
we ain't gonna let them have too much right now.
But
Don't let them have too much.
but I also I know for myself being raised in that location
Mm-hmm.
really has kind of helped me navigate the different worlds.
Yep.
Like I love New York.
Mm-hmm.
Been here for many years, but it's still very isolated. It's still very segregated.
Yeah.
It's still very segregated. I mean, you can live right next to someone and
Mm-hmm.
never actually have a true interaction with them. You know,
Yeah.
the races and so on. We live amongst each other. In Arizona, because in the Southwest, and I don't know if this is your experience too,
Mm-hmm.
in the Southwest, because Black people were very few, you learned how to navigate different worlds. And I can imagine in the Dolly Dinkle school.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Quick funny story. I Uber takes a lot of my money. I take a lot of Ubers because at a point I'm done with the train and bus. And the other day I was like, I'm gonna take the bus. So I'm like used to being, alone with myself in the Uber. Like I talk to who I want to speak with over the phone. Like I'm just used to that, right? So it was a very southern vibe. Honey, I took the bus yesterday. I got on and I sat down. I was like, "Good afternoon. How you doing?" I was like, "I don't know how to act. I don't wait. This is not how we act on a city bus." Okay, let me bring it back. But yeah, it spoke to like I had forgotten
Mm,
how I used to operate, in the city, right? Because
mhm,
I would, yeah,
mhm.
yeah. Do you
Yes.
find it hard to like when do you ever go back to Arizona or to the Southwest?
Oh, I do. Yes, I
Yeah.
try to get back at least once a year, if not more. Um, you know, I I'm appreciating it more now that I'm
Mm-hmm.
away. You know,
Yeah.
um, um, because it was hard. It was hard being um, one of a very few. Of very few. I mean, when I was raised there were only 3.5% African Americans in the whole state.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, yeah. But I go back. I have family. All my family there is
whoa. Okay.
there. They're part of the Great Migration.
Yeah.
So started from the South to Michigan, and they all did the whole Michigan. My grandfather actually ran a pool hall in Michigan that serviced the auto workers,
Oh,
and then they all migrated to Arizona because of health. You know, so they're part of that kind of the Great Migration. Jacob Lawrence has done
sure.
series on this, so yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But I have family from my father's family is actually from Texas. Yeah,
What part?
yeah. Longhorn, Texas. You could,
Well,
I
Texas
don't
is
know.
so big. It's so big. You don't be no
Yes, yeah.
you don't be no
I think it's somewhere outside of Houston, I believe.
Okay.
I'll get some reference. Yes.
Um,
Uh-huh.
how do you find when you go there and return? Do you notice? I guess do you register a shift in the body? Like we know it in like head space, heart space, but like, does it happen in the body?
Oh, for sure, for sure. When I go home and then come back to New York, it takes me a week to kind of adjust.
Uh huh.
Actually, even when I leave New York, I mean,
Oh,
anytime,
period.
when that
Period.
pace
Yeah,
in
yeah,
period, it takes me a week to adjust to come back to, get that pace because things are, I can easily go into that, uh, that southern, southern pace. I try to retain that little small town Arizona boy.
Yeah.
But, my body actually seems more expansive when I'm out of New York,
Mm-hmm.
And I could feel that there's a sense of allowing my limbs to like expand. I mean, I have really long arms, very long arms, long legs. And so coming back to New York, I have to be very aware of my space and back to awareness.
Right.
Very aware of my space and how much do I extend my extremities outside, and due to the nature of New York and everything in the city, any city, you're restricted. There's this restriction. So yeah. So physically, like not being able to expand.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's beautiful, right?
Yes.
Yes. That was beautiful.
We are moving practitioners,
That's right.
and
That's right.
everything that we do is informed by what we do in our bodies and our vibrations and our makeup and
Yep.
all of that,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's odd to be sitting to dance, sitting to talk about dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's give it.
I'm writing some stuff down as
Mm.
y'all are. I hope everybody out there in YouTube is with us.
Put some
Look,
stank on it.
Before you go, Kayla, first I want to say who's here. Tracy Herrick Montclair in the house. Hi, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
Amy Casello, you're here. Crystal U. Davis, A. Raheem White, and A.K. Jones. Hey,
Raheem, my brothers.
But here goes some quotes. From you, Kayla, and Kyle Marshall said, that was Kayla's words. Spirit practice, AA. Experience is not dances, Kayla Hamilton. Dance is a vehicle to the next situation, Kayla Hamilton. And Germaul Barnes, we are moving practitioners. Ashe. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
All right, Sister Kayla. We see you in a minute, right?
All right.
All right. Welcome. Welcome, Germaul.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you.
I was a bit of nerves this morning, but I had to really sit down and just meditate and be like, okay, tell your story, So.
Just so you know, Ava Yah said, oh, you're looking good.
Oh, thank you, Ava. That's a compliment coming from you. Thank you.
I know, coming from the goddess, right?
Yes.
Yes. So introduce yourself, and I'm here for you.
Thank you. Greetings, Black Dance Story and cyberspace, everyone. My name is Germaul Barnes, but before I get into introducing myself, I would like to take a moment for the 200,000 people who have made their transition during this time. We have lost those souls. Thank you. And I am sitting and like to acknowledge the territory of the Lenape people where I'm sitting in Brooklyn, New York, and where I've been living for 23 years. I live between Brooklyn, New York, and now Birmingham, Alabama. I am the grandson to Bud and Opal Barnes, Elmer and Julia Copeland, some old names. I am the son to Danny and Sandra Sykes, who made her transition last year, and Pat Brooks, who's my godmother. I am brother to Leslie, Serena, and Crystal. I am uncle to Daryl, Jasmine, Italy, Trey, Marcus, Maximilian, and Mahogany. And some of those names, you know, I named them Mahogany and Italy. I am friend to many. I come to you today with an open heart, so I would like to kind of sit back and speak from that place. I was, as I mentioned earlier, I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, where at the time, you know, there was 3.5% African Americans in the entire state. There's a little bit more now due to the migration from LA and different places, one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. But when I was there, I was in a very small Black African American community. And so as a dancer, I lived in these dualities. I constantly lived in this place of several different worlds. So, you know, my dance world was white female women, was my whole existence. And when I first started dancing, let's say training, I've been dancing all my life. My mom said I was dancing as a fetus coming out. So I came out kicking and shuffling. And so with the African American community and this very small white institutions, and also my mom started practicing Buddhism when I was 7. So I was raised in Nichiren Buddhism. So, you know, I was able to be around a mixture of ethnicities and acceptance and people searching for their enlightenment. And that's how I was raised. So when I tell that story, people are like, you know, so once again, as a Black artist, a Black person in America, no, we're not monolithic. Yeah, we're so many things. But I'm so happy and privileged that I was able to have that experience. I went to a performing arts high school, South Mountain School of the Arts, which was the kind of first pilot magnet programs for integration. And yes, integration in the 80s. We still was working on integrating schools. And so the Black school where most of my family went to, South Mountain School of the Arts or South Mountain High School, and then went to School of the Arts. I had multiple generations that went there because that was the only Black school, high school for many, many years once they closed the one. And so they were into bringing arts to that school to bring in white people to the school. Well, I lived on the wrong side of town, so I wasn't able to be permitted to go to the school. So my mom literally packed us up. Me and my youngest sister at the time was living at home. My older sister had moved out to move to the area in order for us to go to that school. So mom made a lot of sacrifices, as mothers do. And I excelled in, you know, dance was that place of finding self. You know, the only place that I found that I could really be all of me. Really be able to find that voice. For many years, I never said I hated to speak. I'm a dancer. I don't need to speak. But over the years, I found that to be able to articulate yourself along with being able to articulate with the body only enhances it. After high school, I thought I was going to go to Broadway. I was going to Cats. So a week after I graduated high school, I moved to California to do chorus line in Guys and Dolls because I was going to Broadway. You know, got the gig literally a week after I graduated high school. realized I couldn't sing, so that stopped that. And then, I was doing a lot of investigation and had been accepted to University of Arts of Philadelphia and made a beeline to University of Arts of Philly. At University of Arts of Philadelphia, so many people had poured into me. And, it's interesting as I was thinking about doing Black dance stories, I was like, okay, should I start saying names? If I start saying names, I only have 20 minutes. If I start saying names, that's another 3 hours. How many people who have really poured into me and sometimes hammered into me. But there were so many people but University of Arts was that place where I really found that modern dance was suited for my body. I entered the university as a ballet major with education minor. And they said, if you don't get your butt to the modern department, and I'm so glad that I had that guidance. There was Ruth Adrian, Pat Thomas, Milton Myers, Roni Koresh, so many, Andrew Pat. And one of the biggest influence for me was finding improvisation. And improvisation was that place that I could really, dig down deep in. And I didn't see many of me in there. I was never interested in being one of many. And I'll kind of go back and then come forward again, because when I went to my first trained ballet class, they set me down after the class and showed me Revelations. And I was 7 at the time. And from that point on, every place I went was going to Ailey. Well, I was rebellious and I didn't want to be one of many. So I decided, I didn't see myself here. So guess what? I'm going to gravitate to that. And it was really something that I'm so glad. So Montfort Fishback was one of my professors. So I danced with Group Motions Dance Company at the same time dancing with Philadelphia. So and going to school and doing my own work. So I always lived in this place of duality, which I love even still today, not being defined. I called myself the best known stranger. The best known stranger. A lot of people know of me, but don't know me, So when I actually, went to college and went 3,000 miles away from my home, I was the first in my family, in my immediate family, to go to college. And so my mother sent me to college with $100 and a cedar chest. And that's in 1991. She didn't know this is all we had, and at 18. But she also sent me with a tape of a motivational speaker who spoke at the Black Women's Summit in Arizona in 1983. And I listened to this tape in my dorm room over and over and over and over, and some of the mantras that I still live by today. And that was kind of the richest material that she could ever send me with. And I'll just kind of read a little bit of it, actually, because I think it's very fitting, and I just want to kind of share this. This is for me a quintessential moment for our willingness to visit our plans and programs, our goals and objectives, to prepare anew or revamp or revisit our plans for this decade and beyond. We have acutely focused on the fact that we are wise enough to pause and ponder long enough to ascertain just what condition our condition is in. We are bound to the mission and mandate of our number. Therefore, for this moment, let us consider the topic, when the brook meets the river. When the brook meets the river, we the willing, led by the unknowing to do the impossible for the ungrateful. We have done so much for so long with so little, we can now do anything with nothing. So this is one of the part of the motivational speaker that my mom sent me into the world with. So I had no other way but to embrace. I had no other way to embrace everything that was around and everyone that was there to uplift me, and some to not uplift me, but to know what that challenge is. What to go on with the kind of journey of my story. I did move to Berlin, Germany. And in Berlin, Germany, it was right after the wall, and the energy was still vibrant. And I danced with Joseph Tanim and Tolada Dance Company. And there we were 3 Americans and 3 Israeli as a company. And it was really magical. And Joseph is such an amazing artist. When I realized I still needed to train and still needed to grow as an artist, I was still very young. I was just 21 into 22, 23. I was there for 3 years. I was still looking for that something. And so I had made some connections before moving to Germany. And I remember walking down the street, and Cleo Parker Robinson's company was walking down the street, and all I heard was Germaul. And I was like, who was this calling me in an American voice? And there was the whole company there, and I reunited with Cleo. So when I was ready to come back to the States, I literally wrote her a very bad letter, by the way, and said, I'm ready to come back to the States. I'm ready to come back to the States. And at the time, Cleo was the only one working with the legends, the works of Elio Pomare, Catherine Dono, Donna McHale, and then the ones that at the time were the new legends, the upcoming legends, the Ronald K. Browns, the David Rousseffs. The list goes on and on. So I was interested in learning and grabbing and digesting that information as I had departed for so many other places. Cleo said, come on, baby, let's do it. And it was one of the best experience because I was able to meet Catherine Dono, who many years later I became her assistant when she had moved back to New York in her latter years. And Elio Pomare, who also became one of my mentors. And he was very valuable in my continuation after company life. So a year went by, and then I met Mark Davis, who had just joined Bill T. Jones' company. He said, oh, Bill might be looking for someone. And so I came to New York because I was coming to New York and Chicago every other weekend when I was living in Denver. And I came to New York and went into a rehearsal. And Bill sent me into a room with Janet Wong, and Janet taught me a phrase called long-legged bait, which I still do now 23 years later. But she taught me this phrase, and Bill asked me to come in after he dismissed all the company members and to show him the phrase. So I showed him the phrase nervously, doing what I was trying to do. And Bill jumps up to the stage and starts to improv with me. And at the time, I had no muscle definition. I was about that big, none. And Bill is like, we're moving and we're contact improvisation, and he goes and jumps on me. And I don't know if Bill, you remember this. I know you remember this. So he jumps on me, and we fall back, and there we are, just breathing together, really just breathing together. And he gets up and he says, "You want the job?" And that's how I got into Bill T. Jones. And it was that place that I called home. So all that journey that I had just said before, from Arizona and Philadelphia and Germany and in Colorado, Bill was that place where I found was my true home, that I could really practice all those things that I had gathered and honed in, and looking to continue to hone my skill, where I can practice that and be challenged as an artist, and be challenged as a person, be challenged as a man, be challenged as a person that's identifying with self, your flesh, with awareness around you. So I was there for 9 years, and that's where I also received my Betsy Award in 2003. And every time I see that Betsy Award, I see Mama Charmaine's name on there. I was like, Thank you, Charmaine. No. And the Betsy Committee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The Betsy is the Oscar of the dance world, and I was so shocked and honored to be awarded and be acknowledged, for all the sacrifices, because as dancers, we sacrifice. We have major sacrifice. And so these sacrifices that I made over the years, and then retiring from the company life, I decided to start my own work and do my own work. But in between, I had always did my own work and taught and all of this. I can never do just one thing, which I love, or be defined as one thing. But it came to a point where I was so good at telling other people's story. I was so good at interpreting someone else's craft and all of this, that I had to find a time where I had to find my voice. Who was I? Because I was a wonderful interpreter, but didn't know really who I was. So I started Music Dance. And it's a project-based company. And as I was thinking about doing this, and I was like, wow, I started looking back at some of the people that I've worked with, because working is project-based, you don't have a central company. Basically, I realized really early on that I was not that character. It takes a very special person to own a company. And I must say, a very self-evolved person to own a company. And I'm not that person. And I didn't want to just be in this kind of grind. And in America, it's about production and about, how much can you put on? So I said, I want to create when I'm ready to create, and create with collaborators. What's this real sense of collaboration when you're starting from the top, from the dancers to the musicians to the lighting designer to the ticket person is a collaborator. Yeah. So how do you start that dialogue all from one vision? So with Music Dance, it's now going on full time, 15 years. And I am now working on multiple things. And maybe we'll get into that a little later. But I find that the dance world, we need to have the dance world in its glory, and also peel back the layers that did not work. Peel back the layers that did not work. Talk about the real stuff, not only in the outside when we're talking about awareness, but talking about the awareness within the community. Awareness within the community. Alcoholism, drugs, depression, all of these things, sacrifice, all these hard things that I'm also encouraging and teaching my students. I'm currently the teacher at Alabama School of Fine Arts. And I love my babies. I love my kids. I love teaching. I love actually giving all this stuff that people have poured into me to pour it back, to regurgitate that information. And I try to give them a sense of hope and optimism, at the same time, a real knowledge of the real workings, the inner workings, and how to protect oneself, to make the moves in a direction that is beneficial for not only themselves, but for the world. And I know for myself, thank goodness, my mom introduced Buddhism into my life very young, that Buddhism was that kind of guiding light and kind of protection, along with my ancestors and, Grandma Copeland and Grandma Elma, and, all of them were all protecting of me, and continue to, I must say. So I'm finding that I want to give so much to these students and not overwhelm them with their own challenges and obstacles that they're having that I don't understand, to understand like what to really listen, to be able to really listen. When I found to the teaching bug is the best thing about teaching is that I can learn from these young people. And that was the thing with Elio Pomari and Catherine Dano. And so I would go to their house. They would make me dinner and whatever. But one time I realized that Elio and Miss Dunham had never really met. They've been in the same space together, but they've never had a conversation together. And so my godmother and I, Pat Brooks, and I were like, oh, we need to make a meeting. We need to get a meeting. So we bring Elio Pomari to Miss Dunham. And this was the first time I felt Elio was so like humble and so gracious. And he brought Miss Dunham flowers and gave the offering. And, they opened up the rum. And there I was in between. Charmaine, I tell this story and I'm like, wow, it blows my mind. There I was in the middle, literally in the middle on the couch with Elio Pomari on my right side and Miss Dunham on my left side. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get all this energy, all this information. I'm going to get all this, wealth of knowledge. All they talked about was sex and drugs. And life. So and it is so interesting because what I did learn from that experience is not of what you did on stage and how did you survive as an artist. It was, who are you as a person, and how dance is just that vehicle. Dance is just that vehicle to illustrate your life. So yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Come on back in, Kayla. I gotta say, I can't picture Baba Elio Ibaye being humble. I'm trying really hard.
I know.
Because I used to visit him on 23rd 23rd? No,
Yeah,
19th.
19th
19th.
at Chelsea, right around from the Joyce.
I can't picture him as being humble.
Oh,
And
yes.
Mama Donna, but so there are more
Yes.
people here, but I got some things to make sure we don't forget stuff. Say the name of your company again. Oh, wait, cheers. Cheers. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Cheers. Cheers. Mm.
Say the name of your company again so folks know.
Yes. So I had to wet my whistle.
Yes, darling.
It's called Music Dance, Visual
Music.
Music Dance, VIEWSIC dance .com. You can find me
Okay.
there. So I started a company in college, and I was bringing in the visual arts department, the dance department, and the music department. That's how that word came out.
Oh, I don't think I knew that. Wow. Well, thank you. You, Mama Ava said you are an inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Thank
And
you.
you,
Thank
like
you.
Kayla, talked about how people poured into you and then you want to pour it back because Kayla's a teacher as well. But you mentioned the legends. I'm glad you said the names, but you can't say Auntie Joan Myers Brown and Mama Cleo Parker Robinson without the other three.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ann Williams.
Ann Williams.
Lulu
Yes.
Lula Washington. And who am I missing now? Oh, Geraldine Blunden.
Geraldine Blunden. Yes.
Yes, the divas. Oh, wait. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I try to write all these things down, but I can't keep up with you people.
And Denise,
you
who's
all.
taken on the ranks. So
And her daughter, right.
Denise,
Blunder,
yes.
man, those five. And then here we are trying to hold it up. So, my dear friends, talk amongst yourself. As you know, this is the time when I kind of search through the many, many statements to find some questions. But as you know, and I've told you, our chat is raucous and raunchy. Oh, wait, the people that are here. So Elizabeth Holmes is here. Shannon Judson is here.
Aww.
That's my
Samantha
cousin.
Spees is here. Wait. I might say this wrong, so forgive me. Leguma Vanderk is here.
Yes.
Thank you. I think that's it. I think I've mentioned as many people as I can, but talk amongst yourself. I'm going to look through these and find some questions from our raucous chat folks who really talk amongst themselves and they just give all kinds of compliments, and which is so fabulous. So talk amongst yourself, and I'm going to look for some questions.
Hey, my people, I hear you out there.
Oh, Kayla, you got her looking good too. Kayla's looking so good, Jay
Well,
Bowie.
you know. I have a question, Germaul, for you.
Yes.
Actually, I have several. Let's see where I'm going to land. Thank you for sharing. There was I should have been writing stuff down, like taking notes.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I was like, whoop, 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 whoop.
Oh, I know for sure. Kayla, hold your question.
Yep.
Come, bring it right away. But I know for sure that a lot of folks needed you to repeat that in the end. The from your mama, folks need you to repeat that for sure. But go, Kayla, because we're gonna come back to that. Because yeah, that was a big one.
I want to know more about your company, and like I guess the question that popped up the on top the first was like, out of your work that you have done with your company, which work or process is closest to the heart to you, and why that particular work or that process? They're all close, right? Because you made them.
Yes.
But what? Period.
Yes. Thank you for that. Yes. That's a hard one, because I work so in the moment, and I work with what I have. As I was saying, we work with what we got. Sometimes we have a week to make a piece. Sometimes we have a year. I just did a work on Alabama Ballet. which was like 4 weeks, and it was talking about gentrification, and it was at the time, and so on. And but I work very collaboratively. A lot of times I start with the music, and then a lot of my work is original. I try to have original composition or live music.
Okay.
I always love that sense of live music. It's that is the essence. We need to bring that back, you guys. Yeah.
Diane
Um,
McIntyre.
oh, Diane, yes.
She taught us
So
that. Keep the music and the dance together.
Exactly. And that's one person that I still want to work for. But every time she's called me, I've doing something else. And Diane, you're not patient, Diane. But you're like, if you're not ready for me now, let's go. But
it's out there though. It's out in the universe.
Yeah, yes. But that's one of the person I still would dance for. Not many people I still would dance for. So yeah, I work very collaboratively. Right now I'm working on a work kind of telling my life story for the first time with Nikia Workman, called Gemini, and talking about the duality of an artist.
Yes.
And talking about the dualities, the different lives that we live, and ageism, and how we age out of a certain form of dance. So that's what I'm working on now. And that's kind of, I guess that's my favorite piece, because I'm working on that now. And that's how I work.
Yeah, I asked because you have such a range of experiences and different aesthetics and movements in your body. So I didn't know if there was one through the creation process, you were like, oh, this may be a little bit of Bill. Oh, this may be a little bit of such, you know what I mean? That like, as you were, the awareness, right? As you were creating, like stuck in a different way, which is why I asked.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting because when I left company life, I had to retrain myself.
Right. Yeah.
I had to retrain myself because I was so trained in all these other things. I didn't know what it means to just, what I used to do for, we used to do it back in the day. We would do a disco dance. That's to tell you how old I am. No, I'm 49. But, we were doing disco. I was going into the studio, like you were saying earlier, that you went into the studio and just cried and just been by yourself and made many hours as an X.
Yes.
You're laying as an X. Many hours like this, maybe.
The best X, honey, the best X.
Okay. But then I realized, I said, I need to figure out how to then drop it again.
Yeah.
What is natural in my body. So I understand how what you're saying, like African is that place of feeling, and African American is a place of feeling and healing.
Yeah, that's right.
African American dance. Let's not negate that. Like that, what I see my mama doing, the backbone
Come
slip.
on.
You know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah.
This is a quote for you from Renee Redding Jones, Lady Kayla. She says, sounds like your process there is waiting for inspiration. Inspiration. What? That's beautiful. And of course, you were quoted again, dance is a vehicle to the next situation. Spit, sister, Yogi Dada said.
Yeah, something you said, Germaul, you're like, create when you want to create, right? And part of that is like the listening, right? When it comes. So it's not, yes, you can say, I'm going to be in Studio D from 6 to 8, but if it's not there yet, it's not there yet, and honor that. But anyway, that's a quote that I'm like, that's going to stay with me as a reminder to create when I want to create, and to continue to like be quiet and listen to when it's time.
Yeah, it's about that awareness, right?
Yeah.
Is it right? Yeah. And by the way, this is a Yogi Dada piece. He's an amazing Birmingham artist that makes wearable art and visual artists. So this is one of her pieces. I don't know, you can see it so well. So Yes, my sister.
Yes, Yolanda. And everyone is love hearing these stories. Oh, throughout the series. Oh, that's very sweet. But your stories. Shannon said, love this story. Samantha says, yes. What a lovely journey. When you are through, will you dance? Barbara Dumertz Woodford. I think they all want y'all to get up and dance, but talk about your stories.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
About your
I did have a question for you, Kayla, though, too. It's skeletal architecture. I mean, it's come up a couple of times during these
Sure.
things. And, you know, and what I've been had the pleasure of seeing it, that it seems like a real a dialogue with sisterhood,
Mhm.
a dialogue of sisterhood, and having that safe space and talking with some of the other, you know, participants. What is it like to take that sisterhood and then put it into a performance thing and share that? And does that sacred space get lost?
Mm. What does it? Say it one more time for me. I got it,
So,
and then it lost it. It left me.
yes. So that sisterhood,
Yep.
that safe space for women
Yep.
and women of color,
Sure.
when you put it into the performance realm,
Hmm.
does that sacred space somehow dissipates, or does it expand? Does it grab because of the energy?
Yeah. It definitely doesn't leave. The sacred space expands because I feel like I carry each of them with me. Uh, in my, uh, yeah, I carry people with me. And when I'm on the stage, I'm when I'm performing, I'm uh, when I am performing, I am being carried by them. It's not me.
Mm,
It's
mm,
Samantha. It's Mama Charmaine. It's Paloma. It's and then when they are actually physically in the space, then I know. Listen, everybody else. No, I'm just joking. But but like when they're physically in the space,
yes,
then I
yes.
then there's a different soaring, if you will, a different flight. But I don't, and and I speak to them, right? So they're not far from me, right?
Mm,
I still carry them close as humans. So their artist self and their human self, we're still connected because we chat. Just hi, how you doing, et cetera, right?
beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
Do you
Yeah.
want to parallel that with the men, the improvisational group? And
That's
believe it or
Oh,
right.
not,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's 27 past.
oh
It's 27.
no! Oh
I know. This always happens. Love it, but it always happens. But you formed a group. Should we tell everybody that you're copying us? Wait a minute.
well, I think I did mine before skeletal architecture, but
Kayla?
well, yeah. So now, and fifth year, Jay Bowie was actually came to me and was talking about, you know, not being able to have that place, that central place for Black men to actually have a conversation. So I'm one of those people who are like, okay, let's do it, let's make it happen, you know. And so I have an annual thing called the Contemporary Improv for Black Men, and I invite men of, and I had to redefine what is, you know, what is men and what is Black, you know, and so
Mm.
how you identify,
Yeah.
you know,
We've had to do
and
that in Skeleton too. Yes.
yes, yes, and how you identify. And so we come together and we improv and we move together before anything else and move together. And then we just naturally it's become, we then sit around and talk. But I don't allow any cameras,
Nope.
any video. It's not a performance thing. Anyone that's in the room has to participate. So really making that safe space so that we can be in and not be performative. and
Yeah.
not have the eyes on us that we have as men of color all the time and
Oh, man.
objectified and all of these things. So, you know, this is the
Ashe.
contemporary improv for Black men. And we've done it
Ashe.
now in Rhode Island and Brooklyn and New York and NYU, Alabama, oh gosh, many places. So this is a traveling series. Yeah.
Oh, maybe Skeleton has to keep up, huh, Kayla? They're doing it. So it's time for Nick
Converge.
and Kimani to come back in. But I want to quote another sister of mine, Tracy Herrick. She said, yeah, a different soaring. Yes, a different soaring, a different kind of soaring. What? That's what we do. That's what we do. Oh, my friends. We just started 2 minutes ago, didn't we?
Mm,
Well,
wow.
for sure, cheers.
Yes.
Please say if you'd like to shout out anybody. If you've missed anything that you'd like to share as we close out.
I would like to shout out Bill T. Jones, who's kept me employed for 25 years.
Ashe.
I would like to lift up two very dear friends of mine, MK Abedu and Crystal U. Davis. Yeah, artistically, just as a person, as a teacher, they my ride or dies, and I appreciate them.
And Germaul, I forgot to say that Desert Dance Theater is here, and they said they remember you.
Oh,
They said they remember you.
Yes.
Yeah, and for sure, shout outs to all of the support that bring us together.
Charmaine, didn't you
Yeah.
say you wanted to return to the quote? That beautiful.
Oh, yes, yes. Can you read it again? I know we're there, but yes.
Like, woo!
It was powerful.
Oh, okay. Yes, most definitely. This is for me a quintessential moment for our willingness to visit our plans and programs, our goals and objectives to prepare anew, or revamp, or revisit our plans for this decade and beyond. We have come to acutely focus on the fact that we are wise enough to pause and ponder long enough to ascertain just what condition our condition is in. We are bound to the mission and mandate of our number. Thank you, Charmaine, of our number.
Our number.
Yes. Therefore, for this moment, this segment of time, let us consider the topic. When the brook meets the river. Let's all do that. Let's all do that. When the brook meets the river, we the willing, led by the unknowing, to do the impossible for the ungrateful. We have done so much for so long with so little. We can now do anything with Black dance stories.
Come on.
Ashe.
Ashe. A different kind of soaring, said Tracy Herrick. quoting us. Ashe. So before we go, guess what we get to do? We get to announce the October lineup. Woot, woot. Dave Alois Farron, Kevin Ayega Jeff, David Sev, Melanie Green, Olivier Tarpaga, Jasmine Hearn, Jennifer Harge, Bill T. Jones, Paloma McGregor, and Suleiman Solo Badolo. Black Dance Story.
Yeah.
Thank you all. You're beautiful. We appreciate you. Kimani, Nick, anything to close?
I am just so grateful to Kayla and Germaul for your wisdom, for your beauty and in touch with the ancestral roots to bring it to us here. Thank you both.
Thank you. Ashe.
Shay.
Nothing, Nick?
Beyond inspiring. Thank you guys for sharing everything tonight.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. See you next week. Same station, Black Dance Stories. Mwah.
Bye.
All right, we're off.
Great.